The lawyer for the family of Shanquella Robinson this past fall is blasting the FBI's alleged lack of transparency in the case, noting the agency refuses to release the autopsy results to them after declining to press charges. But why is that? Do you think there's a deeper reason behind their decision to keep the autopsy? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. But of course, before any of that, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more updates and videos like this. Now, let's jump in. The North Carolina native's demise was initially attributed to alcohol poisoning, but authorities said an autopsy later revealed she suffered a broken neck and other trauma. A disturbing video showed one of Robinson's friends allegedly hurting her shortly before her body was found. Robinson's family say they want access to the autopsy results themselves. In an interview with the U.S. Sun this week, family lawyer Shanquella Robinson, who is not a relative, said the clothing designer's loved ones are growing increasingly frustrated with U.S. authorities' lack of action in the case. The family is deeply disappointed, she told the outlet. They're concerned, obviously, about the red flags and the lack of transparency in the investigation, but they're not deterred. In November, Mexican authorities announced they were investigating Robinson's demise as a homicide and issued arrest warrants for at least one of the Cabo Six, the six friends she traveled to the resort with just a day before her passing. Then in April, the FBI announced it would not pursue charges against any of the friends because of lack of evidence. Shanquella Robinson now alleges the agency refuses to give the autopsy report to Shanquella Robinson's family. The FBI says, "We cannot release the documents, autopsy results, to you because the case is still open, because we are waiting for documents to be translated to English that we received from the Mexican authorities," she said. Which again, red flags everywhere because you've made a decision in the case. You've announced the decision publicly to the family and to the public, but you're saying the case is still not closed and admitting that some of the documents from the investigative file that arguably would affect your decision to charge have not been fully translated. Shanquella said Robinson's family plans to travel to Washington, D.C. on May 19 to mark 200 days since her death. There should be a level of urgency, a level of prioritization by the U.S. authorities that just isn't there yet, she said. We all saw what happened on the video, and we are demanding that U.S. authorities step in and prioritize the case and allow the extradition process to flow, allowing Mexican authorities to prosecute the person they've identified as the aggressor in Mexican courts. In March, the heartbroken family's legal team wrote a lengthy letter to President Biden demanding that the direct aggressor in the beating video be extradited to face charges in Mexico. Because we need a high level of diplomatic intervention, we sent the correspondence to the highest diplomats in our country, Shanquella said at the time. Shanquella also recently traveled to Mexico to look into the investigation. She told The Sun that the initial probe is completed and that an extradition packet has been presented to the U.S. government. It was a surreal experience in the sense that I've been an attorney for almost 17 years. I'm a former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney. I have never had to physically go to another country to investigate on behalf of any family, she said. In response to Shanquella's statements, the FBI directed The Sun to a statement from mid-April in which it said the circumstances around Robinson's passing had been a priority for officials. Shanquella noted that Robinson's family is still holding out hope that justice will be served either in Mexico or stateside. In case you missed it, here's everything we know so far relating to Shanquella Robinson. On October 29, 2022, Shanquella Robinson traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico with a group of 6 people for a vacation in late October 2022. According to a police report, a doctor was called to assist Robinson on Saturday, October 29 around 2 p.m. The group of people with Robinson told the doctor she had been excessively drinking. The doctor checked on Robinson and insisted on taking her to the hospital, but the people she was with refused. Robinson started having convulsions around 4 p.m., at which point an ambulance was finally called. Despite numerous attempts to revive her, Robinson was pronounced dead at 5:57 p.m., according to the police report. While this is the story that appears in the police report about the incident, Robinson's demise certificate said she passed away 15 minutes after suffering a severe spinal cord injury and a broken neck. In late October to November 2022, information slowly circulated about Shanquella. Despite the brutal circumstances, details did not immediately come out about her passing. It wasn't until a video began circulating in mid-November online of Robinson being beaten by a group of people in Cabo that people started focusing on the case. But by then, nobody knew the location of the people that had traveled with Robinson, and authorities refused to name any suspects in the case. Officials in the state Robinson passed away announced they were investigating the incident as femicide on November 16, 2022. 2 days later, the FBI opened an investigation on Shanquella's case. The FBI decided to do so. However, little details have come out about this entity's investigation. Funeral was then held for Shanquella, as hundreds of friends, family members, and supporters gathered to say goodbye at Charlotte's Macedonia Baptist Church. Loved ones wore pink in her honor, as well as bracelets and pins with her photo. On November 25, 2022, an arrest warrant was issued in Shanquella's case. The State Attorney General's Office of Baja California Sur issued an arrest warrant for femicide. By November 30, 2022, Shanquella Robinson's father spoke to WCNC Charlotte. Bernard Robinson asked Mexican authorities to charge all 6 people she traveled to Mexico with, saying they were responsible for her demise. Robinson said the hardest part was knowing there was nothing he could do to protect his daughter in her final moments. Shanquella Robinson's family and friends held a rally to demand justice. Hundreds of people gathered at Little Rock AME Zion Church in uptown Charlotte to honor Robinson's life and demand justice. Several city leaders, including City Councilman Braxton Winston and Mecklenburg County Commissioner Pat Cotham, attended the event. On January 9, a balloon release was held for Shanquella Robinson's birthday. Million Youth March of Charlotte and Salisbury hosted the event at Memorial Gardens in North Charlotte. Dozens of people showed up to release balloons in honor of what would have been her 26th birthday, including Robinson's grandson. Almost a week later, Mexican prosecutors updated the investigation. Prosecutors said that they were aiming to extradite a suspect in the country. Daniel de la Rosa Añana, the state's attorney general, said authorities were focused on locating the suspect. He said they were working with Interpol to put out a red notice, which is a global advisory to be on the lookout for a suspect. In March, supporters went to Washington to demand diplomatic intervention. Robinson's family was joined by activists and supporters as they called on U.S. lawmakers to take action. Attorneys representing Shanquella Robinson's family sent a letter to the White House, and attorneys Ben Crump and Sue Ann Robinson shared a letter they sent to President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken that identified a woman who traveled to Mexico with Robinson that they claim was responsible for her death. The letter includes an 18-page packet with her autopsy and unreleased documents from prosecutors and police. The same month, the White House addressed Shanquella Robinson's death for the first time. Let me just first say our hearts go out to Miss Robinson's family and friends, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said. It is devastating what occurred. Later on, Shanquella Robinson's family, attorney, advocates demanded federal action on the death investigation. After a panel about equal justice wrapped up on the campus of Livingston College on March 23rd, Shanquella Robinson's family and their attorney promised to continue to maintain pressure on federal authorities to either prosecute the people responsible for her death or extradite them to Mexico. By April this year, the Shanquella Robinson case wouldn't see federal prosecution as per DOJ. The family of Shanquella Robinson and their attorney said they were disappointed but not deterred, after federal officials declined to seek federal charges in the death of the Charlotte woman. The case may not seem to progress any further, but we can only hope for the best for Shanquella's justice and her family. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this.